Hi, it's John from positiveresolution.co.uk and welcome to episode 2 of the Business Growth Weekly. As ever, I'm joined by my good friend Stephen Swift from YorkshireMarketingBusiness.com. How are you doing, Steve?
Pretty good, thank you. Another week flown by there. Well, yeah, it's great to be back here again, for this week's edition, for what we're going to be talking about today. Indeed. So let's crack on with this week's topic then, eh?
Absolutely, and I think we said that this week we were going to talk about what is a business. Do you want to open with that? You've got a couple of different businesses, so what is your definition of a business, and how do you go about using that definition?
Yeah, sure. Okay, well, definition to me on the basis, because I run a couple of different businesses, I suppose I have different definitions because each business is different. The basics for me is literally it's a portal for you to be able to supply something or offer something to people that have a need or feel that there's a demand or there's a want for something, and you provide the solution, whether it's a DVD product, whether it's a digital download, whether it's sorting out the plumbing, whether it's fixing the electrics, whether it's doing a survey. It can be anything at all, a product, a service, a solution is the thing at the end of the day for me for a business. And the businesses which I offer, as you rightly said, John, I've got a couple of businesses which I run that all come under the Yorkshire Marketing Business umbrella, but some of them would be the actual I will go and consult with people. Since last week's recording, I've taken a call from a new company that started in June, a recruitment company. They're looking for, they know they need a website presence, but not sure how to go about it. They realise and take on board their time is valuable running their business and looking for new candidates and vetting them, looking for new placements to put them in. And the website creation side of it is something that they know hasn't got a value to them in their time doing it, so they want to outsource it. So, we've held a consultation. Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say that's something we talked about last week, of course, is if it's something that you don't feel is using your time valuably, outsource it. Give it to somebody else to do.
Yeah. So, and they recognised that they didn't have the time to do it and felt that it was as good a value or use of their time. So we went and had a fact-find consultation with them, moving forward to do something for them, that's going to add value to the business. And they're happy to outsource that aspect. It's a one-time project that I'm involved with, but there may well be like a retainer opportunity to help with the support and development of the business through other areas, and not just website, but more marketing side of things away from the website. So that side of it, I suppose, is one thing. But then there's the training side of things. The training being how people can do their own kind of marketing. And the other type of training would be a bit like what we're doing now with these videos, to be honest, and home study courses which I've written and events people, seminars and workshops people can come to. On the back of that, products people can download that's in niche markets. Another thing that I'm involved with is supplying on-demand products, which is a single-page website. There's no navigation bar, about us, products, services, contact us and all that. It's literally just one big scroll bar at the side, and if you printed it off, it might be about 10, 12 pages long. But it's a load of copy, a lot of words on there and images explaining what the benefits are of a particular product. One of them we do is self-defense for women, close quarter protection sort of thing, so they feel confident about going out and about. If somebody did approach them, they wouldn't feel intimidated, and if they needed to, get out of a predicament, then these techniques will show them how to do that sort of thing. Another product that I'm involved with is in the gardening, believe it or not. How extreme do you get from self-defense to gardening? People that want to, be the next Alan Titchmarsh in their own little garden that they've got, but they don't want a landscape gardener to come in. Nothing wrong with getting an outsource into a landscape gardener because they're the expert in what they do. But to get you off the ground and have a go yourself, then this product is ideal for them. But bear in mind, like you were saying, don't be afraid to outsource something to an expert that can help you and make sure things are done right.
Well, one of the things that I wanted to ask you about, because obviously, as you said, you've got different types of businesses, you've got different products in different markets, but that's product.
Yes.
Do you define your business by your product, or do you think that business is more about the process behind it? Are you your business? I mean, one of the things for me is that I am my brand. I'm very into the idea that whatever I do, I am my brand. I'm a small business in that basically I am my business. I have no employees. But one of the things that we didn't cover last week actually was the fact that actually calling yourself a small business has nothing to do with turnover. You can have a massive amount of turnover with no employees, or you can have hundreds of employees and not be left with any profit at the end. So to me, there is something that unites outside of products, outside of market, the army of one, if you like, and the multinational company both call themselves a business. What's the thing that makes both of those things a business that possibly neither of them recognise as having anything in common?
That's a really good question, actually. Just going back to something you said before, do I define my business being me or
Mm,
the products? When we talk about Yorkshire marketing business, because I'm the driving force behind YMB,
mm,
it's me as a person. It's what I've learned over over a decade of being in marketing and advertising for independent companies, for multi-million pound companies. I mean, Mentmore PLC and Scottish Courage,
mm,
two completely different brands, but they're huge multi-million pound companies, and I've done marketing and management work for them. I've also then worked, on a small independent farm that I mentioned in last week's video,
mm.
for what I've done in the past. So when we talk about how I define the business for YMB, it's about me because I'm the driving force behind it. I'm the ideas guy. I'm the guy that spots the opportunities and the directions that businesses can be taken in.
Yeah.
So again, I've defined myself as a business towards somebody else's business. This could get really confused if I'm not
Well,
careful.
that's quite interesting because and I want to know what you think about this because I haven't quite worked out what I think about this yet. But I was at a seminar a few years ago, and this question came up of what is a business. Stand up if you run a business. And then the guy came. I can't remember what the guy's name was now, but he went through this list of okay, now sit down if this that and the other. There's all sorts of criteria, but one of the criteria was take your seat. You haven't got a business if you can't walk away from it for 6 months and come back and it's still functioning.
Hmm.
And
Well,
there
it's
was,
funny you should say that actually, John,
mm,
because the Yorkshire marketing business, that would last for so long without me having any direct input. But on the flip side of that, if we then start looking at the products which I promote and sell on my other aspect of
mm,
business, which is the self-help and how-to products, once that page is set up, everything is set to go on autopilot. So I don't have to touch that ever again. I've got some websites
yeah,
which I set up 5, 6 years ago that I'm still selling products of, and I have never touched them. All that happens is people find the product through the
mm,
way it's all set up. They buy the product, the order goes through my merchant account, takes the money, an automatic email gets sent with all the details to my fulfillment house. They fulfill the order and post it out to the client. And basically, at the end of every month, they just send me an invoice for their involvement, which, as long as I'm there to do that, or I get my
yeah,
accountant to do that for me, literally, I just, I pay them their bit and I return the rest. And I could literally
yeah,
be anywhere in the world running that business. So basically, with that kind of business, with the accountant taking care of the monthly, bill to the fulfillment house, I could be running that business anywhere in the world as long as I've got an internet connection.
yeah. I think, I mean, to me, it was an interesting definition because it works very well with that kind of information product market, which obviously we're both involved with. But I really struggled with it as a definition for, say, the family running the corner shop who maybe have
Mm,
two part-time staff on a Saturday.
yeah.
Because by my definition, that's a business. It's profitable. It's doing something for the people. It's bringing money in and paying its way for the people who are running that business. But by this guy's definition, it's not a business because if they went on holiday for 6 months, they could not open. And by the time they got back, the shop would be looted, boarded up. Do you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
It's not for me. I've been searching for an overriding definition of what a business is, and the closest I've got is it's a profitable pursuit that brings value to its owners.
Yeah. Well,
That's
I
about
mean,
as close as I've got.
I think taking it to another level, John, it's there's one thing that's a business, excuse me, but then with regards to the the product side of things that I promote on these, one-page websites, that's more of a lifestyle business
Yeah.
because it gives me a lifestyle that a traditional business, a bricks and mortar business, can't give me. Because a bricks and mortar is like a fashion shop, to be honest, or a DIY, hardware store, something like that. People have to turn up every morning, unlock the doors, go inside, up the shutters, turn the lights on, switch the cash register on, make sure the phone's connected to take any calls, put the airboard outside saying we are open, come and spend your money with us, and then sit behind the counter, staring out the pane of glass, waiting for somebody to walk past that wants a new garden rake or they want to buy a new outfit.
Yeah.
Where that's a business, whereas the lifestyle business, which is the product side of things, that's all done on autopilot, that just brings me in an income without me. Once I've done the thing once, which is source the product and the license rights for it, have the website built, put all the shopping cart into it, inform the fulfillment house and give them the master copies of whatever it is if it's a physical product. Once that's all done, it's a one-time thing, within at the maximum, the worst case scenario I've ever had is it's taken me a month to do this. Usually it's done within a week. Once that's done and set up, it just stays there for as long as I keep that website hosted, which is just something I do once a year, is just make sure I retain the website address. Now that's a lifestyle business as far as I'm concerned because it's a business which is making an income with profit, but I've got a lifestyle that I'm living and not having to actually run that. Barring, once every 12 months, I just send everything through to the accountant and they just do the books and make sure we write with HMRC and we pay whatever dues we have to pay. That's it.
But if you separate, you see, for me, the lifestyle is the reward for running the business. If you separate the lifestyle from the business, because if you're on a beach, wherever you are, with your laptop, and that's your lifestyle, and that's where you run your business, that's just you sat on a beach with a laptop. It's not. That's the reward for running your business in a certain way. But the unifying factor is that not the income. The process doesn't matter. The business is the production of the income.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah, I mean, it's how far I suppose you want to analyse things, and the purpose of these videos is to, I suppose, get to the nuts and bolts and really look at the particular aspect of it and the definition, as we've been saying. So, I mean, I don't think there's any real right or wrong answer, to be fair. We can take it further than that if you want to, which is what you're obviously picking up there, John, is the business is the financial rewards you're getting from things. But with regards to the lifestyle business, that's sort of run on autopilot, there's also the freedom of the business that the business gives you as well. So it's not just financial reward, it's rewarding you with time as well back into your life, which something I mentioned previously is I get to take my kids to school and pick them up and go to sports days and go and see players and one thing or another, and I don't have to think about, have I used all my annual leave up yet? Is the boss going to think I'm lifting the leg pretending I'm being ill again because I'm actually going to have to do something with my kids? It's like, stuff that. They're my kids. It's my family. That's important to me. I've spent a lot of years, a hell of a lot of I've traded a lot of hours for my life. I've traded a lot of my life for hours to somebody else to make them very wealthy. Now, yes, I still do that with YMB, with the marketing company to a degree, but it's like what you were saying, in line with if you don't want to do it, then you don't want to do things that you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
I enjoy helping people in business, i.e. somebody that's looking to make a financial gain for them personally, rather than making a financial gain for somebody else personally that they're going to get a little piece of. It usually is a little piece in comparison to what they're actually making.
Yeah.
So, but I enjoy doing that. That's a benefit to me. Because it's a feel-good feeling, I suppose. So, yes, the lifestyle business is all about the freedom of lifestyle and the financial reward. The auction marketing business is more about the small amount of time I invest with somebody else's business that gives me a financial reward. But before the financial reward comes in, it's that feel-good feeling again. So I suppose we get into the nuts and bolts of this definition for me is a business is defined by the thing that I get from helping people and helping people get results and reach success that is what they're looking for and their interpretation of success, which I suppose is another topic. and also then the financial freedom, which if I have the freedom lifestyle and that's coupled with financial freedom, so I've got time freedom, I've got financial freedom, add those two together, I suppose I'm very fortunate, but that has come at a price. You know, it's come at a price where I've had to invest a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of money. I'm not exactly the most healthy of people. I know I'm not hard done by when you compare it with the grand scheme of things, you know, but I have had medical issues in my life because I have pushed so hard, you know, and I've worked so hard. I am a bit of a workaholic. I enjoy it, but I've come over the years to learn as I've got a little bit older and wiser that working 24 hours, 7 days a week isn't the be all and end all. You know, there are better ways to actually live your life. And I think it's like an Australian concept is over here we seem to live to work, whereas over there it's more we work to live. And you know, it's getting that happy medium and balance. And there is a way of doing that. It's not necessarily working for somebody else. So if people are looking to get that kind of lifestyle and that financial reward, then setting up their own business in their definition of it is a way to look at going. So I suppose that's my definition. I mean, how does that sit with what your definition would be, John?
It sits pretty well. I mean, like you say, the reason that I work for myself, we talked about it last time, is that I want an element of freedom in my life, which is what you were talking about, but that involves financial freedom and time freedom. And it was interesting that, you know, the definition that that guy came up with was you can walk away from your business for 6 months and it's still there.
Yes.
Because to me, that implies that if you are the guy in the corner shop, you can't do that. But, you know, if you, all the people out there who are listening who own a retail business, a physical retail business, are going to sit there and go, I work my ass off to keep my business going. Because
do you think that guy's right though? Can I interject there 2 seconds, John? Do you think that guy was right though in saying if you can't walk away from something and leave it for 6 months and come back it's still running, that you haven't got a business?
No, I don't. That's why I brought it up, because I didn't.
Absolutely.
I didn't. It didn't sit right with me, and I couldn't. I still months later think I'm not sure he's right. So yeah, I'm still not sure that he's right. In fact, the more I work with small business owners, the more I'm convinced he's actually not right, and that possibly it's quite a damaging way of looking at the work that it takes to put a business together. I think that focusing on the fact that actually different businesses work in different ways makes that definition completely obsolete, because as you just said, if you've got a lifestyle business, you can run it in a way that means that you've got a lot more time than somebody who maybe runs a shop, you know, or somebody who runs a chain of shops, or is going to run things and run their life completely differently and pay different prices as far as their time and quality of life. And you alluded there to you know, your health, which is again something that comes into being self-employed, because there's a lot more stress involved with running your own business than there is with working for somebody else, very largely. So no, the short answer is no, I don't think I did agree with it. And that was one of the things that led me to suggest this as a topic, because I wanted to know what you thought about it. And I also wanted to know what, you know, the other people watching this thought about it. And I think that the other thing is there are a lot of multi-level marketing businesses out there and people that operate their lives using multi-level marketing as a business, and that's another field which is operated in a completely different way. And all of these different models are all referred to as a business, but they're all different in the rewards that you get, they're different in the prices that you pay, but they're all referred to, particularly by a national level, on policy level, we're all referred to as business owners.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to walk away from a business and leave it alone and not do anything for over 6 months, personally speaking, I mean, I've run a logistics company. You know, it was a partnership business I have. We tied up with some other logistics companies, which we had a close synergy with to grow a bigger brand collectively with everybody that was involved. So, you know, I'm not taking credit for you know, how that business went, sort of thing. You know, I did it with help with other people. But it was a case of, if you walk away from the business for 6 months and do nothing with it, I think you're opening yourself up to a huge problem. Because if you don't keep your eye on your business, You're not going to notice when things are going in the wrong way, going in the wrong direction. And you do have to keep handle on things, even if it's just once a month. Even if you owned multiple companies. I mean, my situation is different to the one I'm about to give the example of, because I obviously have a very close hand on them. And even though I said earlier, I've got a website, it's all built, and I've left it, and it's been going for years, and it's still bringing me income, but I don't have to touch it. I still look at the analytics, which is seeing what traffic is getting to it. I still see how frequently it's been there. I still look at how long people on the website for, so I can see if things need tweaking to make it better. But I don't do that every day or every week. It might be once a month, once every couple of months. But I certainly can't leave it for 6 months. Well, I probably could, but I would be losing sales and opportunities.
Yeah.
So by looking at it frequently, but not going overkill with it, allows you to maximize your initial efforts. Going back to what you said before, John, which is that strong foundation. Don't let the rest of the structure become weak when you've spent the time and effort and put all the energy into a strong foundation to let something grow and then say, right, I'm going to leave it now. I'm not touching it again because it's making me money. Eventually, that income stream will start to deteriorate if you don't keep your eye on it. I think 6 months is a long time. You could probably get away with a month, 3 at the outside. But it's got to be a certain type of business to allow you to do that. Even if you had multiple businesses and you were like under, an umbrella and you had companies underneath you, you as the, CEO of all these different companies, you would need to have a hand on it.
So yeah, I think we've covered quite a lot of different perspectives on what is a business there, Steve. I think that's really interesting. But what I'm interested in, obviously I know what the answer is for you, and I certainly know what the answer is for me, but for the people who are watching this, it'd be quite interesting to find out what their definition of success is for their business, because I think that's the point where people are going to differ and people have got different ideas for what they want out of their business. I don't know what you think about that.
Well, for me, it's got to be down to the fact that, what's the individual's definition of success? I mean, I remember I was doing a training seminar once, and there's a group of people in the room, and one guy, I asked him this question. I said, what is success to you? Well, I want to, make money. I said, so your definition of a successful business is making money? And he says, yeah. I says, right, I can help you with that right now. So I took the wallet out and I gave a tenner. I says, there you go, you're successful. And he looked at me, gone out. And the other people in the room found it rather amusing. I said, well, you said definition is making money. Successful, there's a tenner. You're successful, congratulations. He went, well, no, I want to make a bit more than a tenner. So I said, okay. So I got £20 out of my wallet and I gave him that. I said, there you go. Now you're really successful. How do you feel? He went, no, I don't think you're getting it. I said, no, I don't think you're quite getting it. You need to know, your definition of success is almost taking it right back to the start, which is your why. Why do you want to do something? What is your vision for the future? I watched a video from a guy, I forgot his name now, bless him. I watched it from a 2006 seminar. Really, really clever guy, how he put this story across. But basically, he had a vision. His success was having a book published by the New York Publishing Company. And his vision was writing the book, going to Heathrow, getting on the plane, flying over there, going up to the 63rd floor, seeing the editor, and getting offered a deal on his book. That was his vision, and that was success. And it actually happened in real life. This actually did happen, and he got there, and he found himself at the end of his vision. He had reached success. He got in front of this guy, but that's where his vision ended. So he'd reached success, and he blew the deal. He didn't get it because the guy offered him a deal and he just went, well, I don't know, maybe this, maybe that, maybe the other. At that time, back then a few years ago, it was like, look, that's the offer. You're wasting your time. Get out. And he blew the deal because his vision and his level of success was getting to that point. So obviously what he did was rethink his vision, and his success was actually getting the offer, accepting it, taking the money, banking it, spending it on this, investing it a bit on that, developing something new and moving forward. So, and he worked on it, and a few more years went by. And this is a true story. I mean, if I can dig the details out on this video I've got, I'll quote it to people in one of the threads on the Facebook page. People can check it out themselves. I'll see if I can get hold of the guy, and if he'll give me some rights to actually edit part of the video from this seminar and post it, because I think people would love to hear his story.
I'll tell you what might be great is if you find out who it is, we'll try and get in touch with him.
Yeah, and see if he'll do a bit of a speak. Yeah.
See if we can get him on as a guest.
Yeah, I mean, if we can, I mean, I've been made up because, I mean, the inspiration of this guy, some of the things he talks about in the seminar was phenomenal. But, we won't have time for it all. But certainly if you could share that story so people know
Yeah.
that, I'm not talking a lot of waffle here, that it actually was, I mean, the guy went out and he bought a white suit and his briefcase, and he was stood at the end of the runway at Heathrow watching the planes, imagining himself on the plane. It's mental, but it came true, he had that vision. So
Yeah.
his success was actually achieving his vision.
Mm.
So for me, I have the same sort of thing. I mean, I have a vision book, and in that it has different things I have on my list I want to achieve. If I achieve those and gain them in my life, I feel I will have reached those levels of success. But obviously, what I'm going to do is write another vision book. So if I then take another vision book with another list before the first one ends, my vision continues. So I will continue to be successful in my interpretation of it from what I put in my vision book.
I think we're covering something very important here, which is that everybody's definition of success for themselves and for their business is going to be different. But you're exactly right. Most people don't know what their vision of success is. If you don't know where you're aiming, you're never going to get there. So I know it's a great quote, but
It's a brilliant one, is that, John?
it's absolutely
Well worded.
I'm gonna trademark that one. But the point being that you've got to be specific about it, and that example of the giving the guy the £10 note, absolutely brilliant. Because yeah, I want to make more money. Well, don't we all? Here's 10 pence. Here's £10.
It was absolutely gobsmacked. It
Goal
was
goal
confounded. It's
achieved.
like, what are you doing? It's like, that's what you wanted to achieve. That's success.
Yeah. If you don't put times on your goals, on your vision of success, if you think to yourself, I want to make £1 million. My goal for my company is to make £1 million in a year, like in any specific year. But if you don't have a plan to get there, then I'm going to make £1 million in a year. Well, it becomes a rolling year,
Yes.
and you
Yeah.
you never achieve it. So it's about making sure that in your own mind you know exactly what you want, when you want it, and how you're going to get it. And the vision book is a great idea because it enables you to sort of sit down, put it in writing, and then visualize it properly and really get buy-in from your own mind, because doing that then brings you that level of motivation where you can close your eyes and say, well, why the hell am I doing all this work? Why am I banging my... There will be times, this is the thing for any
Yeah.
business, there will be times where you sat there going, I'm doing everything that everybody's recommending and it hasn't happened yet. Why hasn't it clicked? And you will sit there with your head in your hands and go, what the hell am I doing this for? And it's
Yeah.
at that point where if you've got that in your head, if you've got that specific goal in mind and that vision, it's at that point you go, that's why I'm doing it. And that's what's going to keep you moving forward. That coupled with the values and the reasons why we do it that we covered last week, those two things together, they're the things that are going to keep you going throughout the difficult bits, particularly in the early stages. And I think that's why it can, when we initially came up with the topics for the first two sessions, I know we both sort of sat there and said, we're sort of easing people in, but I really believe that these two sessions, that what we talked about and some of the things that people can get out of that, and if you've not seen the first session, if you're joining us for the first time today, go back and watch that first session again, because I think that these two sessions particularly, from my perspective, very, very important in building that foundation.
And I think, like you say, it's important not to get disheartened, because in the early days it can be very difficult. Remember with the first product that I was looking to promote on a single page website, I'd learned from my mentor, I'd implemented all the strategies and the processes that they'd gone through, and I'd spent a lot of time, spent a lot of money, because it was the first one I'd done, so it was the learning curve. And I've been, taken over a few of the hurdles, but there's still other stumbling blocks, and I think that just adds to how well you do, and you need to have some type of learning. You need to have a little bit of struggle to be able to get better. And I remember the first product that I did, it was a simple product. And that simple product was a self-help CD. And I remember the first sale after I'd sent out, I'd done a direct mail piece, I'd done some email marketing, I'd done all sorts of driving traffic to a website, and I'd finally made my first sale. and it was just £14.97 I made. I remember showing it to a friend of mine that was actually in the office where we were at the time. And I says, look at that, Brian, £14.97. I've made my first sale, and actually, somewhere I'll have to find it just for proof, and I'll put it on Facebook if I can find it. I'm sure I've got it somewhere, even if it's just a photocopy of it, was actually of the cheque. Obviously, I'll have to probably blank out the person's name and everything. But, I do remember that it was from, I can't remember the person's name, and I wouldn't say anything if I could, but I know they live in Stranraer, or they did at the time. And this was back in 2008, I think it was, something like 2007, 2008. And they bought this CD off me, £14.97. And the feeling that I got, all that hard work, all that, why am I doing this? All this, God, and Bennett, is this worth it? All right, it's only £14.97, but I'd got a result. Somebody had actually had the confidence to invest in something which I was offering them. It was £14.97, but I had started it. I'd realised, do you know what? This information publishing, this internet marketing of self-help products, it blooming well works.
Yeah.
So all those people that said, you're wasting your time with that, Steve, get a proper job, or set up a proper business. You're stood at the bar and people are laughing at you. And then I remember going in going, right, all you laughed at me, have a look at that.
Yeah.
And they went, yeah, it's a check, it's 15 quid, you won't even get a round of drinks in. And then, yeah, but somebody has sent me that from a product which I'm promoting. You guys said it wouldn't work, and I'm here saying it is. And from there, it just took off. Yeah. And it was just like, I've learned from that. Now just rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And I think that's a topic, obviously, for later weeks, is once you've got the process right, how do you make it better? Just do it over again. When you find somebody that's doing something and it works, copy their success in the format of your style of business, and then rinse and repeat it once you've got it working really well.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. And the thing that you said something there that struck a chord with me, which was about the first one you got, and it was like, it works. This works, and people watching this will be able to tell when you were saying that. You could feel it, couldn't you? I mean, you can really go back to that moment, and it's
absolutely
fantastic.
I remember tearing the envelope open. It was a second-class stamp, so obviously we weren't in that much of a rush. But I remember thinking, who the thing is, sent me something from Stranraer? I saw the stamp mark on it. It's like, what's this? I don't know anybody in Stranraer.
But those kind of things are the things that, obviously, all these years down the line, you remember that.
Yeah.
And you can apply that to, the people watching. Anybody can apply that to their own business. Once you start getting that kind of feedback, which is basically people saying, yes, we trust you, we trust what you're doing, and we're going to invest in you to the tune of whatever your product or your service costs, you can use that motivation to keep moving forward, and you'll always remember it. So whether it's an online business that we're talking about, whether it's an offline business, whether it's a product, whether it's a service, you can apply that principle that Steve's talking about to your own business, in your own business model. And I think it's very important that you do that, because it's another piece of the puzzle that's going to keep you going through actually, why do I do it? That's why I do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Ask anybody who performs on stage. The stage fright, the nerves, the throwing up beforehand, they sit there and go, why do I do it? And then they walk out on stage and they get that feedback, which is the same feedback. And they go, this is why I do it, and this is why I will never stop. And and I think that's really important, and it's a great way to finish today's conversation. And all that's left for us to do is to give you your homework. And what did we decide on, Steve, for the homework?
That we had to get them to comment about what they felt was successful, their definition.
Yeah, your definition of a successful business. What is success for you? Whether you agreed with what we said about the definition of a business, even. But
a 6-month thing, that's important. Isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's going to be quite interesting to get some feedback on that from different types of businesses.
Yeah, I think if people comment as well, also on if they've made any sales, will be good as well.
Yeah,
we nearly finished it off.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I think you're right. I think I think we want to know your definition of a successful business for you. What constitutes a successful business for you, and actually what constitutes success for you anyway. I think that's important. And I think the other thing I'd like to add in, which we haven't talked about but has come up in this conversation, is we were talking about being specific. So what would be great is if people started thinking about and maybe commented on when you're telling us about what constitutes success for you, be specific and tell us whether or not you've got a plan in place, whether you've got something written down. And I'm not talking about a bank financial plan, but a real plan of where you see your business going, where you see your life going, and your experience with using that to motivate yourself.
Yeah, I think that'd be great if we can get that feedback from people. And like I say, if they have had some success already, how did it make them feel?
Yeah,
Was
absolutely.
it everything they were expecting it to, and did it give them that momentous boost
Yeah.
to supercharge their business to the next level?
Yeah, and also the flip side to that is, has anybody given themselves a goal for success that they felt, or they've got a plan in place that they feel they're not meeting?
Yeah,
And what's their experience with that? Because hopefully, if people have experienced that, other people on the forum, or yourself or me, we can come in and say, well, how about adjusting the way you're looking at this, and hopefully you can get some feedback that may help you moving forward.
I think if they put things like I've tried this type of business before
Hmm.
and it didn't work for me, I didn't get any result from it, so I gave up. Let us know. Don't let's take that maybe
Yeah,
negative to you, negative feeling part in your life that that didn't work, and let us know what it was that you were trying to do
yeah,
and why it didn't achieve the results and what things you did, because we can maybe help you and say, look, because I mean, from the experience that I've had, from what John's had, and from other people that's engaging with this community that we've got on Facebook and with these weekly videos,
mm,
you never know. John said it in week one, if you communicate and let people who are, it could be an opportunity to network as well and get new potential contacts and business.
absolutely. And
So same with that. If
yeah,
something's not worked out right, let us know, and somebody might have an answer saying, "Well, look, this is potentially where it maybe didn't quite go right because," with constructive support and advice and ideas, and you might think, "Do you know what? If I had done that, I'm going to try that and see if it
yeah,
does work." It might just turn what was a negative and you put it to bed, not going to start it again, to something that's like, hang on a second, pennies dropped. That's where it went wrong. You start it. You
absolutely,
could make £1,000,000.
absolutely. And
You might make a quid.
yeah, I think it is important to know that different people have different ways of approaching things, and to get both sides of the coin in this homework for you, I think it's going to be valuable to everybody, because you can learn just as much from people's mistakes or people's misjudgments as you can from their successes and the things that go right. In fact, a lot of the time you can learn more from it.
Well, I hope everybody's found that useful. Again, leave your comments for us. We're not here to preach or anything to anybody. We're not saying we're right and everybody else is wrong. We're just
No,
giving some ideas and some suggestions and discussing it in the open with other people. And hopefully it'll elicit some emotion and some ideas for yourself. So,
absolutely. I think once again, this whole idea was just myself and Steve have these conversations all the time. We thought it might be fun to put them on video and put the audio out there and see whether people were interested and whether it could help them as well, and hopefully get some interaction going. So
yep.
again, thanks for listening. You need to go to the Facebook page to do your homework, which is once more www.facebook.com/business growth weekly. You can also give us, and we appreciate any feedback you've got about this session, good or bad. But if it's going to be either, we'd like to know why as well. So with that in mind, thanks very much for listening. Thanks again, Steve, and we'll see you next week.